Welcome to another episode of Based. On this episode, we are interviewing Alan Taveras of Brands Off. Thank you for being here.
No, thank you for coming to our warehouse.
So, who are you and what is Brands?
My name is Alan Taveras Sepúlveda. I have a mother. I'm the son of a Dominican immigrant and a Puerto Rican, basically domirriqueños, how they say. I'm an entrepreneur by trade. My first startup was in my high school years. I used to do reggaeton parties for private school students here in San Juan. I then went to Buenos Aires, Argentina to do an MBA there and came back in 2012. And there I just started opening companies with my brothers. The first, Tresepic, is basically an outsourced programming firm. And after that, we opened Brands of Puerto Rico, which turns to Brand Off. We now is part of the Puerto Rico e-fulfillment center, and we're here. I'm an entrepreneur.
So you started organizing reggaeton parties. You went to Argentina, got your education in business, and now we're in a warehouse.
Yeah.
How does all of that blend in, and what's the background of all those team members and essentially brothers that you came together and built this?
Basically, my approach to entrepreneurship has always been problem fixing. The first organizing reggaeton parties, I went to San Ignacio, that is one of the private schools here in San Juan, and we didn't have access to reggaeton singers because they were like for a bad crowd. So I basically brought them to this upscale market. After that, when I came back to Puerto Rico, I saw an opportunity for local entrepreneurs to export to that diaspora, or basically the Puerto Rican community in the States. There's 6 million Puerto Ricans out there who miss the products and have a big purchasing power. So basically, I connected and I built a bridge that is Brands of Puerto Rico. And through my years in Brands of Puerto Rico, I saw a huge need on the fulfillment side of the e-commerce business. And after a year talking to the Compañía de Comercio y Exportación, we're here.
So Compañía de Comercio y Exportación is a government agency, it's a P3, like what is it?
Yeah, it's a government agency. Basically, it's part of the DEC, and it helps. Basically, their mission is to grow their exports.
Okay, so before we go into the problem that you're solving with Brands, who is part of your team?
Well, my team right now is 15 people. They're all in Latin American countries. We have 5 employees here in Puerto Rico. We have 1 in Dominican Republic, 2 in Argentina, and the rest in Mexico.
Okay, so I'm guessing the reason why you're in those countries is because you've taken the model of shipping the products of home, let's say Puerto Rico, to the diaspora, and you copied that in Mexico, in Argentina, and other locations.
Something we learned being part of the second cohort of Parallel 18 is that in order to build a scalable business, online scalable business, we had to look for a market bigger than 20 million people. And the US Hispanic community is a market of 59 million people.
Okay.
So basically, every country from Mexico to Argentina, there's been crisis, war, or a lot of people have moved up north in a better quality, or searching a better quality of life. So basically, we knew that if we focus only on Puerto Rico, we weren't gonna grow our business. So we started looking for other Latin American countries that had a big diaspora in the States, and we took it from there.
Okay. How do you make money?
We make money 3 different ways. We charge 40% out of each transaction. We sell to the brands that are part of our marketplace ad plans, as Amazon and other marketplaces does, enable to your product, for example, an email blast, boost posts on our social media. Well, brands pay lower price than other marketplaces. And also we sell business reports based on our data. For the last 5 years, we've been gathering data on how Puerto Ricans in the States buy online, what they like, the difference between each county. And basically, we sit down with brands that already has a physical presence in the States, and we let them know how to make better decisions.
Okay, so I'm guessing that you take, for example, this physical report, you take what you've built with brands, and you take the fulfillment center and you package it all together.
Basically, yeah, we develop an ecosystem where brands can not only export their products, but get to know a little bit more the market out there in the States.
Okay. And let's talk growth. You have 15 employees right now. There are 15 team members. When did you start this, and when did you start this, and how many people were in that initial team?
Yeah, we started in 2014 when the junk bonds in Puerto Rico, the junk bond crisis, and we were 3.
Okay.
It's been 5 years, 1.2 mil in money raised, and now we're at 15 people in our team. Mm-hmm. We've been growing for the last 3 years. We've been doubling our sales. So we're looking at steady growth, and basically now, instead of growing in other markets, we want to deepen our footprint in Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Dominican Republic. Because with those 3 markets, we get more than 60% out of the whole U.S. Hispanics.
So I want to go deeper into the numbers and the doubling of sales, but before that, you're doing this right now, for example, with the fulfillment center. So I'm guessing that you're going to be building a fulfillment center in every single one of these locations you're expanding with brands.
For example, this fulfillment center also caters to our Dominican Republic business, since we have such proximity. In terms of the Mexico, we're looking for maybe to collab with a player in the border states. Not necessarily we have the same connections or availability to sit down with export chambers of those states. So, and there's a lot of competition there. We've been to fulfillment centers in Houston, in other parts of Texas, and it's not necessarily smart to open a new one. Okay. Here in Puerto Rico and in the Caribbean region, we were the first.
Okay. So your team has grown by 5x in the past 5 years. Your sales have been doubling every single year. Every past 3 years have been doubling every 3 years. And you've raised $1.2 million. Can you talk to me about those sales numbers? What were you making on the first year, second, third, and till this day?
I can't.
No?
No, I can't.
Okay. We're not going to go deeper. So talk to me about the funding you've raised. You went through Parallel 18. I'm guessing that's $40,000, right?
Yeah.
And how do you went from 40,000 to 1.6?
In the demo day in our Parallel 18, we met an awesome partner and now a friend, Beto Payares from Hunts Holding. He manages a fund out of El Paso, Texas. Okay. And he's really interested on growing the Latino tech scene in the States. So he met us there. He said, I want to invest in you guys, but you have to open Mexico. And after 3 months, my brother moved to Mexico, and we raised with him and Parallel Matching Fund. There we raised $225,000. And a year later, we were able to raise with GFR Investments. Yep. That's the fund of GFR Media, one of the biggest companies here in Puerto Rico. With them, Beto and Miguel Rios, ex-Twitter, Puerto Rican, one of the top talents in Silicon Valley, 1 million.
Okay, so what has been the key to growing from Puerto Rico?
I think in terms of our business model, and this is something I always tell to other entrepreneurs, our business goes really well with the Puerto Rican story. With the Puerto Rican story of having a big market, 6 million people there. Every media here in Puerto Rico is looking for business stories. And our story really resonates with what's happening in Puerto Rico. So with that story and gathering different connections, we've been able to grow here, and that resonates in the other markets. So it's more a human aspect of what we do and how we're helping other people that really brings people to the table and help us grow.
So do you consider yourself a social entrepreneur?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
How do you, when there is turmoil in these countries, and that has been the history of Latin America, what is your response? How do you see your company morphing or changing or being part of those turmoils?
Unfortunately, sounds bad, but every time there's a turmoil or a lot of people move from the country, we benefit. Mm-hmm. For example, Hurricane Maria hit, and from the day after Hurricane Maria until January, we saw like a 3x increase in sales. Wow. Because people were looking at ways to help. A bad part of that, we were in Nicaragua, And last year, Nicaragua, specifically with the young students, the government turned against them. So my team there had to move from Nicaragua and we had to shut down the operation. So not necessarily that was a good part, even though we received a lot of traffic and a lot of people wanted to help, but we couldn't operate there.
So do you consider that a challenge for growing the business?
Yeah, it's a challenge because Latin America is always seen unstable. Yeah. So we learned from the lessons in Nicaragua. Hopefully in Puerto Rico, we won't have that problem that we can operate from here. But yeah, it's difficult, but at the same time, that difficulty makes our business so much special because people need this. And we don't see different competitors out there that are taking products from Latin America to the States.
So if you wouldn't be in this role, what other career path would you choose?
I was supposed to be an advertising executive.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
That's my bachelor's. I went to advertising. I love the creative aspect of marketing. So I will envision myself working as a brand manager or as an advertising executive. Thank God that chain of events happened that I ended up here. I wouldn't think that I would be happy in an advertising agency though.
There are a lot of people that do give me the same response. But going back to what makes you happy, and this is essentially, this is your baby. This is what you've been working on for almost half a decade now.
Yeah, wow.
Sorry to put it that way. So you have a 5-year-old baby right here. What's next for it?
I think our next barrier that we have to break, we have to start growing more the how different e-commerce companies in Puerto Rico and in the region start using this platform that we're building to grow the industry. Right now, I'm looking at growing the industry, as we were talking about other conversation. I'm looking on how we can grow the industry, because if we grow the industry, our company is gonna grow. So basically now my hat is more focused on industry growth than my company's growth.
How do you achieve that?
Sitting a lot of people together that don't necessarily talk and making them row in the same direction.
Good thing we are the capital from. I remember we sat down almost 6 years ago. Back then you were 20.
I'm 32 now.
You're 32 now, so you were 26.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
That's a hard one. But I think even we have a lot of bad things and a lot of good things. I would tell my old self, stay on that course. Yep. A lot of moments I thought about quitting. I had job offers from big telco companies here, which I denied and felt bad for a while because I didn't have any money to live. But I think that stay on that course. You're going to see the light.
There you have it. Stay the course.
Yeah.
Fast couple of questions. What is your favorite word?
My favorite word?
Yep.
No.
Why?
Because that makes me want to actually do it.
What is your least favorite word?
Resiliency.
What is your favorite sound?
My favorite sound? The email sound when we sell. the email notifications.
What is your least favorite sound?
When people like, I don't know how to say in English, but when people like, when they don't want to do something.
When they hesitate.
When they hesitate, yeah, I hate it.
So I'm guessing that turns you off.
Yeah, because I think that the biggest things human beings will do and have been doing is when we get over that feeling of not hesitating.
Yeah. So what turns you on?
What turns me on? Talent.
Why?
Especially young talent. I've been mentoring a couple of Parallel 18 companies, and now we're even working with them in some sort of businesses. Is because I think one of my capabilities or the best thing I can do is turn that talent into an aggressive talent. And when you put that aggressive note into talent, things start happening.
So what is the thing that excites you the most about Puerto Rico right now? Is it talent, or is it there's something else?
I think the opportunity. And I think that feeling that a lot of people have out there, that with For example, Act 22 and stuff like that. A lot of people are scared because of the competition. Well, actually, that turns me on. Something I learned in Parallel 18, I don't want to compete with Puerto Ricans. I want to compete with the entire world. So if Puerto Rico brings more international talent, more people from the States, it's better for us because we can be better.
I can see that, and I mean, like, it's if you're in the entrepreneur, if you're trying to become an entrepreneur, you need to have that drive.
Yeah.
You always want to be figuring out what is the next big fish that I can fry, and then the big one. When it comes to Puerto Rico, you've said opportunity, you've said talent, and turning that talent into an aggressive talent. But what is the best kept secret about the island that you hold right now?
For me, something that doesn't even have to do with business or entrepreneurship, me being able to jump in my car and go to a deserted beach in 20 minutes is the best. I think the quality of life in this island is better than anywhere else.
We can have an experience for that. Last two questions. What is, you said that you were going to be an advertising professional. What would be the job that you would completely despise doing right now?
Accounting. I hate accounting.
Why?
I think how my brain works, I think in pictures.
Okay.
So breaking down, and something that I have to learn through this process. For example, I always say as a joke, when I started brands, my favorite software was PowerPoint, and now my favorite software is Excel. So I've trained my brain to think in numbers, but still, when I get ideas, I see things. I don't see words or numbers. I see things.
So do you consider yourself a creative?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
When it comes to the persona and the el perfil, the demographics behind the entrepreneurial class and the whole entrepreneurs are building in Puerto Rico, do you think most of them are creatives?
I actually don't think that they are creative enough. For example, I've had the honor of sitting down and talking like I'm talking with you for the last 5 years with I would say more than 500, maybe even 1,000 entrepreneurs. They have great products, but when you go to other markets, for example, Dominican Republic or Mexico, you will see the packaging, the design behind the brands are super top level. Here in Puerto Rico, I can tell you which is the best coffee in Puerto Rico, but the packaging is horrible. So I think Puerto Rican entrepreneurs need to step up on that creativity and that design aspect of their businesses.
One last question. If heaven exists, what would God tell you when you arrive to the pearly gates?
I hope he said, "Good job, Alan."
So there you got it. There you have it. There's another episode of Based. We interviewed today Alan Taveras from Brands Of, and it is a series of companies around Latin America based in Puerto Rico that has grown its team size from 5 to 15 in the past 5 years. 3 to 15, sorry.
Yeah.
3 to 15 in the past 5 years. Has doubled their sales for the past 3 years, and he doesn't want to disclose numbers. We're going to have to go back and check them later. And more than
NDAs,
anything,
man.
NDAs. Sign them, learn them. That's a lesson. We're going to have a segment about that later. And more than anything, he is constantly supporting not only the entrepreneurs in Puerto Rico, but finding how to tweak that talent and turn it into an aggressive talent. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being part of this.